about the first technical difficulties. That was totally my bad. I'm blaming 2020 for a lot of stuff. Let me just put that out there.
We can always blame 2020.
Blame it on 2020. I think that's what we got.
Exactly.
But for all the guests that are tuning in, thanks so much for being here on another episode of Real Talk, Real Inspiration. I know I haven't been here for a while, so thank you so much for coming back and showing us some love. But I'm really honored to be joined by Tennille Boseman tonight. If you missed the introduction at the beginning when we had our first take at this, Tennille has been coaching fitness for more than 15 years. She encourages people to move through fitness and through positivity. Her passion for fitness and for moving really was amplified after her son was born with how do I say it, Tennille?
Pontocerebellar hypoplasia.
Yes, a very, very rare.
Say that 10 times fast. Yeah, very rare, very hard to say.
Yeah, very, very rare brain condition, meaning her son would never walk or talk, but he actually inspired so many people around the world to move with purpose. And Tennille has shared her story of going through grief after her son passed away when he was just 5 years old, but also just encouraging people to move and to stay positive. And that's what I love most about Tennille's story and her journey is that we talk about when we overcome adversities and just staying resilient. She is one resilient mama, and she is an amazing story. So Tennille, thanks so much for being here and just spreading the joy that you do.
You're so sweet. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're based in Utah right now. Tell us what's going on with Tennille right now.
So, well, we should preface this by saying that you and I met when I lived in Omaha. So we go a few years back. But
we did CrossFit together.
We did CrossFit together. Yeah. So I live back in Utah, where I am from. I am based in Salt Lake City, but I'm currently in my hometown of Logan, Utah, right now. It is so cold here. No, probably not as cold as Omaha. But I'm actually basically living in a hotel every Monday through Friday because I work I'm a trainer for a company called iFit, and I teach fitness classes, live virtual fitness classes every single day to people all over the world. So those are filmed up here in little old Logan, Utah, which is really cool. It's kind of fun to come back to my hometown.
I love that. And I mean, tell me about that. So you're coaching literally hundreds, thousands, millions of people all over the world. What does that look like?
Maybe not millions yet, but we are teaching a lot of people. That would be awesome if we got to that point of teaching millions. But I teach cycle classes and treadmill classes every single day. I teach 3 live classes Monday through Friday. So a total of, 15 classes a week. So I'm learning to take naps. I'm learning to really take care of my body and just kind of live. I feel like I'm living my dream life right now because I absolutely love coaching fitness, and I love hearing about people's progress and seeing their lives change because of it.
Yeah. And so I just put up a picture of Tennille in her moment where she's going hard on the bike and coaching people. And how do you stay motivated to do that, that many times a day? How many
I get asked that all the time. Wow. And it's because it's fun. Like, honestly, it is so fun. I like you mentioned, I've been involved with fitness for over 15 years now. And now I'm at the point where I was ready for the next challenge this past year, even with it being 2020. And I kind of fell into this job, which was, I feel like it was meant for me. And maybe my little boy was, guiding me in this direction, but it's just fun. The challenge of being in front of a camera, especially when you're live, you have to be on point and on your game. And so these workouts, they fly by for me, and they are so much fun. So much fun.
I love that. I love that. So we have a question from somebody watching. Tennille, do you have a link for the treadmill class? So how can they find you on iFit?
So you can find me on the iFit app. And so those are streamed live, but they also will bank the classes that I have taught. And so you can go in the app at any point and take those classes. So, and it doesn't
You can
matter.
download that on your phone, Tennille? Is that how you do it?
Yeah. I'm associated with NordiTrack, so that's the equipment that I teach on, as well as free motion. But you don't necessarily need to have that equipment to be able to do the classes. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. So, you're from Utah. You decide, like, what pushed you to really say, I think I want to have a career in fitness? Like, what was that moment for you, or how did you know that that was going to be your calling?
Well, because I kept falling into it, and it was fun for me. And I realized that when you get into something, you're like, I didn't even realize that was like, it wasn't necessarily my goal to always be in fitness, but that's where I always fell into, and where I felt most comfortable and most connected with people. That was the biggest thing for me, is seeing and talking to people every day and hearing their stories and seeing their progress. That's really what has made it for me. For me, like, fitness is fitness. We can all do it to lose weight and look good and whatever. I'm in it for the people, and I'm in it to feel good. So, and I hope that is what I hope that's what people get from me when they take my class.
Yeah, that's great. So, when you moved to Omaha, I met Tennille. We were at the same CrossFit gym, actually, and she had, prior to that, been doing Zumba and coaching. You did Pilates and all kinds of different workouts, but you've done a little bit of everything, right? Kind of fitness wise. What's your favorite thing, and how do you like to change it up as much as you have in the past?
Absolutely. And I will tell people that too. I get questions all the time, like, should I be doing, 5 cycle classes a week, or 5 treadmill classes a week? You can, but I highly recommend that you diversify, like, confuse your muscles a bit. I love dancing. I don't love running, although I teach running.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest, I don't love running, but I do a lot of cross training with the running, which I love. And yoga has been great for me as well. So, in CrossFit, I loved CrossFit. So I love mixing it up and meeting new people along the way.
So tell me about, when Jet was born, and you found out that he had a rare brain condition. Talk about those moments, and let's just talk about those moments first before anything else.
Those are some hard moments. And I get asked this question, did I know that Jet had that condition while I was pregnant with him? I didn't know. As far as I knew, he was completely healthy, because I had a pretty healthy pregnancy. There he is. There's my little Jet man. And when he was born, Jet's dad and I were like, something is off here. The doctors, they really didn't see anything wrong, but we noticed that he wasn't tracking with his eyes, and then he had a lot of spasms going on with his arms and his legs. And so we're like, something is up here. And doctors were like, no. They sent us home. He didn't even go to the NICU. And after a few weeks, we went into the hospital because Jet was, he wasn't gaining weight. He wasn't eating well. And we took him to the hospital, and his oxygen stats were like 70%. And they're like, whoa, we need to look into this. So they did, and they were trying to tell us that he had acid reflux. And Jet's dad and I were like, no. We're not leaving the hospital until we get an MRI done. And so they did, and then discovered that he had some abnormalities in his brainstem and his pons. And then later, genetic diagnosis through like blood tests diagnosed him with pontocerebellar hypoplasia. So that diagnosis, oh man, it's getting that diagnosis, and then that moment, wow. We felt like we had just been hit by a bus. It was because we found out with that diagnosis that the prognosis is not good. Kids with that condition do not live very long. So not only were we dealing with the fact that he was going to be medically fragile his entire life. He was going to have severe disabilities. He wasn't going to be able to walk or talk. He was going to leave us a lot sooner than we thought. And so I don't know if anyone out there has experienced that with a child where you're mourning, you're grieving their death before.
Nope. All right, stand by. We're just going to stand by. I think Tennille hopped out of the stream, so 1 second.
All right, you there?
Okay, we're back. Are you? I know it's a Wi-Fi. It's okay.
And it could be the hotel Wi-Fi too.
Yeah, and it's okay. We're back. We're good. It was a couple seconds.
Back.
I put Jet up on the screen, so we're all good.
There we go. So yeah, when we found out the prognosis, you start grieving the life that you would have had with your child. And then started grieving the fact that he was not going to be with us very long. And then also being scared every single day, wondering if that was going to be his last day. So gosh, the first year of his life, I was just on pins and needles all the time. Wow. Yeah, it was hard. And Jet's dad and we made this little pact together that no matter what, we're going to give Jet the best quality of life possible. We're going to, try to show him the world, even though we had expectations that we were going to like literally travel the world with him. We had to find a new normal, and that was honestly really tough.
Yeah. Talk about though, as Jet got older and, you continued your journey with fitness. I mean, how important was fitness for you to help you get through those tough days with Jet and, raising a son with, that kind of rare brain condition?
Fitness was my therapy. Absolutely. The fact that I could go and, there was a yoga class right by the hospital that I would go to, and it was a hot yoga class where you could just lay there and cry and no one knew you were crying. And it was such a good release for me. Getting outside and going running and just kind of clearing my mind a bit, it helped me function so much better as a mother and just with my emotions, because if my emotions were all over the place. I
bet.
Yeah.
What, through that though, I mean, through that experience, what kind of lessons do you feel like you learned through, just having to care for Jet the way you did?
Jet is, and like still is, my biggest inspiration, because he helped me really enjoy the small things in life and the simple things. So he loved being outside in the sun. He loved feeling the warmth and the breeze on his face. And so I was able to like really sit back and be present with him in my arms. And he taught me, how amazing hot baths are. Like he loved being in hot water. He loved music. And when he did pass away and, experiencing grief like I have and like his dad has, I truly feel like it's helped me become more compassionate for others who have gone through stuff. I don't know. I like want to bring everyone like under my wing and be like, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this together, because everyone is dealing with their own thing. And life is not easy. And we have to try our best to be kind to each other, and try to see this is really hard, but try to see our trials as opportunities for growth, and seeing that as a lesson versus like a burden. So
yeah, I love that point. And like, I love this picture of you and Jet, because it kind of like, you're right. I remember you telling me this too, like he just loved being outside, and loved the fresh air and the sun. And so
yeah,
picture is so perfect.
So that picture, the story behind that picture is he had already been in the hospital for a month or so, and they were moving him to a long-term care facility because they were trying to get some weight on him. They were trying to figure out his medications. And that day, that was November 5th. I remember the day exactly, because in November, it's usually snowing in Utah. And they were getting his hospital room ready, and I saw the sun outside, and I was like, can I please take Jet outside for a few minutes? And so we were able to go outside and just lay out a blanket, and you can see the cute little smile on his face. He was loving it. Yeah.
I love that. So tell us about how he inspired so many people to, move and moving with purpose and JetPowered. Talk a little bit about the inspiration behind that.
Well, as you know, like I am involved with fitness, and I was able to see one extreme to the other extreme. People who are super healthy and working out every day, building muscle, and then I see a medically fragile child who is unable to walk and talk and just enjoy the small things in life. And so I wanted to share his story with people, and just hopefully encourage people to appreciate the bodies that we do have, and to move your body. And not only is it therapeutic for us, but it's something that we should celebrate. And so Jet truly inspired a lot of people to start doing that. And people will still say, they'll still come to me to this day and be like, Jet was his spirit was so strong, and he was so like, he just radiated. You held him and you felt different. And I want to continue with that feeling, even though he's not here. And I do find that when I am moving my body and honoring my body, and especially like when I'm outside, I feel that connection with him.
Yeah. So, and when you started JetPowered, people from all over would take pictures when they were traveling, post them. I remember you doing that. So how did you get so many people involved and wanting
Gosh, I don't know. I think it was just word of mouth. I don't know if you know the host Glenn Beck, but he had us on his show. And so I think his show definitely got the word out about Jet. And so people bought these JetPowered t-shirts. And since we weren't able to travel the world with Jet, we had people travel the world and took Jet with them on their t-shirts. So it was really cool. Like Jet visited, I don't know how many countries. I want to say over 60 countries or something.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. He went all over the world, and then that has developed into my fitness retreats, which I call, you had mentioned JetPowered fitness retreats. And I do these little getaways with groups of women, and it's a really empowering experience for all of us. We go mountain biking, we go hiking, four-wheeling, like things that maybe some women especially might not do. And we become JetPowered. So it's fun.
So just your picture. Can you hear me okay?
Now I can.
Okay. So I remember seeing pictures of people
Oh, we lost Leah. See if she hops back on.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. So we're going to try this again. Tennille, we are just having fun, aren't we?
Hey, yes.
Okay.
Gotta love it.
Good old technology. I know. I don't know if it was just it must be our Wi-Fi connection. We're just having a little hiccups, but
Little hiccups.
so
I'm showing good connectivity, but hopefully that's
okay.
safe.
So yeah. So I remember seeing Jet all over and all the in the jet powered pictures of people traveling, and people are inspired to move. And I remember just kind of a movement of people wanting to work out, not because they have to, but because they can. And I think that is such an important message to people. Like, if you're able-bodied and you have the capabilities, like, we are so blessed and lucky because so many people don't have the capabilities just to work out and just to exercise every day.
Absolutely. Yeah. It really did. It inspired me to continue to just to move my body and celebrate my body for what it is, because I was seeing Jet in such a medically fragile state. And so I wanted to take care of my body so that I could take care of him, because he did require a lot of care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, when the doctors told you that, your son wouldn't be able to walk or probably talk ever, what is that like to feel in that moment? I mean, you said like a bus hit you, but I mean, did you believe it, or did you want to go get a second opinion, or, how did you handle that?
It seemed like because the diagnosis and the condition itself at the time hadn't been researched a lot. And so we were learning bits and pieces along the way. It wasn't like they sat us down and they were like, hey, he's not going to walk, he's not going to talk. It was like we discovered that along the way.
Mm-hmm.
One of the toughest things for me to swallow is this was when he first got his diagnosis, and I said, can he see? Like, is he blind? And the doctor said, we don't know. And that just broke me. And come to find out is Jet really, he didn't have good vision his entire life. And so sensory was really big for him. Cuddling and touch was good for him. And music, and
Mm-hmm.
he knew my voice. Like, he would turn his head toward my voice the second I came in the room. And so he used his other senses, but I don't know how well he could see, and that just broke my heart. And the fact that he couldn't taste yummy food also broke my heart. And
Mhm.
I mean, that's what life is. That's what life is kind of about sometimes, right? Is uh, eating and enjoying and seeing the world. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, uh, we had to create this new normal for him and give him the best quality of life with what he had been given.
Mhm. And then how much of a role did fitness play through, your time of grief when after Jet had passed away, how did, and I know I say like, how did you get through it? And that sounds really like kind of mean, but I'm not, and I'm obviously not trying to be like that, but it's just like, how could you go through that and take us to those moments of, heartbreak and how do you get through those moments, that
Yeah, still to this
that.
day, I'll have moments where like a memory will pop up on my phone or Facebook or something, and it will take me right back to that day. um, and like for example, yesterday for me was a really tough day because yesterday was December 9th, and while Jet was in the hospital in that long-term facility, we don't know how it happened, but someone or something broke his femur. Like he broke his leg in the hospital. And so December 9th, every year, I'm like, you know, this day is not great. But how I learned to get through it is when I got back into coaching again. I didn't take that much time off from coaching. And there's good reason, because when I'm coaching, I am out, like I am present in the moment, and I don't have time to sit and be sad. And there's a time and a like there's nothing wrong with sitting and being sad, and I've done plenty of that. But there's a point where I personally need to be like, all right, like let's snap out of it for a second, Tennille, and
Mhm.
go and coach and do what you love to do. It helped me tremendously to get out of my head. And the fact that everyone knew what I was going through, that was such a big support for me.
Mhm.
And I felt like, gosh, I just felt so supported and loved by everybody. And
Mhm.
they knew I was going through a tough time, and they kept showing up. So I kept showing up. And
Mhm.
it really, I'm not saying it was like easy to get through it. And still, like I said, still to this day, I have those moments where the grief creeps back in. It's, this wave.
Mhm. Okay, stand by. I lost Tennille. We're just having a little bit of Wi-Fi connectivity issues based on her location. So just stand by for 1 second. Okay. So we were saying your highs and your lows, and just how you got through that moment of despair and grief, and just kind of how do you stay with, stay present and stay in the moment when you're also dealing with those emotions.
Well, everyone deals with grief differently, and
Mhm.
so how I dealt with grief is not going to be the right way for somebody else. But for me, I spent a lot of time journaling
Mhm.
and spending time like at the cemetery and out in nature, and just
Mhm.
trying to feel Jet with me. And I truly believe that he is with me to this day, like wherever I go, and guiding me um, to help those who I need to help. Um,
Mhm.
he wasn't meant to be on this earth for a long time. Um, and that was his God-given plan, and he inspired so many people in those 5 years, and I'm so grateful for it. But I also
Yeah.
feel like, okay, I I need to carry on his legacy and do some good things with it.
Mhm. Yeah. So what are you doing? I know with coronavirus and the pandemic, you're not hosting any jet powered retreats this year, but can we expect to see some of those in the future?
Yes, I'm hoping for next year. We've stayed in Utah, but I would love to take my retreats down to Arizona or maybe somewhere international one day once traveling happens again. I would love that.
And what does that look like? What does a jet powered retreat entail?
It's usually about 3 days. And like I said, it was a group of women. I usually
Mhm.
bring about 10 to 12 women, and I coordinate everything. So if for instance, we went to Moab, Utah, where there are a bunch of red rocks, and I hired mountain biking instructors, and we rented mountain bikes and all learned how to mountain bike. We
Mhm.
went on a Jeep tour, like where you're climbing these steep red rocks and stuff. And it's adventure, but it's
Mhm.
also bringing women together and empowering them to kind of become their best selves, to become jet powered in their own life, whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
And for some people, it's getting outside of their comfort zone and going on that adventure. And so
Mhm.
I always incorporate some sort of adventure. I incorporate fitness, of course. We do different fitness classes or yoga. And
Mhm.
then there's always some element of mindfulness, whether it's yoga or like an intention setting ceremony. We kind of just bring it all together at the end. So it's a lot of fun.
I love that. And so I'm assuming you share the story of Jet while they're there, and they inspire them. He
Yeah,
continues to inspire others.
absolutely. Absolutely. And he still inspires to this day. I still think about him every single day. And he, man, like I said, just in those 5 years, he was my greatest blessing. And I'm a changed person because of
Mhm.
Jet. And so I do feel like it is my duty to him to continue to share his story with others.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me, the pandemic obviously is, been really hard for a lot of people. And whether, you lost a loved one to COVID-19, or, maybe you lost a job. But you talked a little bit about grief and how everyone handles grief differently. But what advice would you give to someone who is experiencing grief? What could they do to get through it?
What's so hard right now is that this pandemic has limited connection. And like right now I'm in a hotel, but my parents live in town, but I'm not staying with them because of COVID. And so with that limited connectivity, we have to go virtual like we are, right? So I would encourage people, because we all are experiencing this like heaviness. So a couple of things. I would encourage people to connect with people virtually as much as they can,
Mhm.
and to move your body. Get your body moving and sweat a little bit, whether that's outside, whether you have a treadmill, whether
Mhm.
you're following me or any other trainer on an app. I know it feels weird right now because we can't necessarily do a lot of group things, but
Mhm.
it's going to pay off, and it's going to help your mental health tremendously. I'm a firm believer when we take care of our physical health, our emotional, mental, and spiritual health kind of comes together. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, move your body and then try to connect with others as much as you can and talk to people, because we're all experiencing.
Stand by. We're having difficulty staying connected here, so hang out for a few seconds. Sorry about that. We're gonna blame it on the mountain.
We'll get through this one way or the other, right?
I honestly think that it's just, I think too many people are trying to go virtual. Too many people are online, and it's creating chaos. No, but
That could be it. Yes.
yes, no, but I love that. I love those tips. I think that's great. And yeah, I mean, even if what can people do at home, even if they can't, maybe get to a gym or their gyms aren't open, can you give us some advice on stuff to do at home or where to look for those home
Yeah.
workouts?
Man, if you have the internet, you have an entire library of exercises you can do from beginner to advanced. So, go look on YouTube if you don't want to pay for a subscription for iFit or Peloton or any of those companies. There's some free stuff out there. Just go and Google exercises, and if you're able to walk, get outside and walk and feel the air on your face. That's going to help you tremendously.
Yeah, that's great. And then, what can just a few minutes of exercise or a few minutes of sweat a day do for your mind and your body, Tennille?
Well, it forces your body to be present, and it forces you're going to feel your heart beating out of your chest. And I always tell my classes, I'm like, that's you alive. Like, we are alive in this moment. And so when you're moving your body like that and sweating and breathing heavy, you're not thinking and worried about the future, and you're not depressed thinking about the past. Like, you are literally in the present moment because you're fighting almost for survival, right? Like, you're breathing heavy, you can't think of anything else. And so it's amazing what just a few minutes can do to get your blood flowing and get those endorphins going. That help clear your mind, and help you deal with stress. It helps you sleep a lot better as well.
Yeah, there's nothing better than that endorphin high, after a workout, hard sweat, and you're just like in the best mood ever. I really appreciate Tennille's story because if anything, it's our reminder that we don't, the most people who can work out, we like, oh, we don't want to go to the gym, or we're stressing about it. But, there's so many people who can't go work out and who would love to work out, but aren't able-bodied to do so. So hopefully her story inspires you to keep moving and move with purpose. And just remember that, we're blessed if we can actually get up and move our bodies every day, because there are some, children like Jet and others who just, weren't able to walk or talk.
Absolutely. I agree.
Tennille, tell us, how can we follow you, or how can we keep up to date with what you're doing? So I know you're on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle? I'll put it in the comments.
It is a JetPowered Ginger.
That is super fitting.
Yeah. JetPowered Ginger on Instagram. And then on Facebook, Tennille Boseman.
Amazing. So any last words of advice for anyone just kind of dealing with 2020, filling in the slumps, and kind of needs that boost of inspiration? What can you tell the viewers?
Well, just like I said, get your body moving, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, and do what works for you. If you are grieving, take that time to grieve and to feel your feelings. You don't want to avoid anything, but honestly, when you do take care of your physical health, when you move with purpose, you start to live with purpose, because everything else comes together: your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. And it will help you get through these tough times. And make sure that we are connecting with people however you can. Talk to your friends, family, and just be kind, because we're all dealing with something, right?
Yes, I love that. Be kind. I love what you said. Yeah, move with purpose, because then you live with purpose. Everything can be intentional, and that's a great point. We're gonna close out here, but you can follow Tennille and I on Instagram at JetPowered Ginger, on Tennille Boseman on Facebook. And I'm really thankful for Tennille, for you to be here to share your story, despite our connectivity issues.
I know.
am really honored to, hear you're doing so well and, continuing to inspire people and also just continuing to share Jet's story, and helping people to realize that, we are privileged when we can move our bodies and when we can work out, and we should really celebrate that, like you said.
Well, thank you. And I want to applaud you because you are amazing as well. So thank you
Oh,
for letting.
thanks. And I lost her again, but that's okay. Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Talk, Real Inspiration. I absolutely love sharing stories of amazing people who are doing amazing things, and Tennille is just absolutely incredible. I am going to sign off, but remember, I'm always looking for people to interview. If you know someone with an inspiring story, I will drop the email address to send those names along. Thanks so much for tuning in. And thanks again to Tennille for joining me from Utah, even though we had a little bit of connectivity issues. So I hope you all have a great evening. And remember, when you live with purpose, move with purpose, and you do things with intention, you feel better and you live better. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'm going to sign off. So we'll see you soon. Thanks.